Star Wars Dark Forces was released in 1995 for DOS and Apple Macintosh, and a year later, in 1996, it came out for the PlayStation. I was 9 years old when I first got my hands on Dark Forces. It wasn't the first-person shooter that I ever played. That award goes to Doom. But Dark Forces really opened my eyes to what these types of games could be. Running and gunning on various planets and ships, fist-fighting a Kell Dragon, wielding blasters and tossing thermal detonators, and being introduced to new and exciting characters, revolving around a new and exciting plot. Yes, Dark Forces was one of those games that really impacted me. It was one of those games that kickstarted my love for PC gaming. It's one of those games that makes me sit back in awe at how far gaming has come. You play as Kyle Katarn, a mercenary who works for the Rebel Alliance. Katarn discovers a sinister program being developed by the Galactic Empire, the Dark Trooper Project, which is basically a technological investment on the part of the Empire to develop new droids and new armored stormtroopers. Cool, I'm all in. Simple story about the Empire developing new weaponry and means of destruction. If you've played Dark Forces, you know that in the first level of Dark Forces, you steal the Death Star plans. As we all know, this scenario is no longer canon. Does that bother me? Nope! The voice acting in Dark Forces is fantastic. Not only during the cutscenes, but the enemies that you encounter sound great as well. Enemies will yell, "Blast him! Set blasters to full! There he is! Stop him! You there! Stop! Stop, rebel scum!" These little lines of dialogue really makes the game feel alive. The quality of the audio is good too. The idea to implement these voice clips was a solid decision. Leaving them out may have made running down endless corridors stale and lifeless, but hearing a group of stormtroopers yell at you before engaging is stirring, especially as a Star Wars fan. It's a small aspect to the game, but it felt like a game changer at the time, something we really hadn't experienced before. This type of, and granted it was programmed, but this type of interaction with enemy AI was really new to us. While the find the red key, open the red door element that was so pervasive in shooters of the time was present in Dark Forces, it kind of strayed away from that at times. It also had an abundance of puzzles. You'd often have to take a little rest from blasting baddies, pause, get your bearings, and try to figure out a puzzle or two which would allow you to proceed down the level. One of the most frustrating things about Dark Forces, and maybe it's a good aspect, I don't know, but it doesn't allow you to save mid-level. If you want to save your progress, you better damn well finish that level. So make sure you have enough time to finish that level, because if you need to leave in the middle of your mission, your next playthrough will feel like a chore. There's a delicate balance to be made at the hands of the developers. If the levels are too long, you'll be annoying players who made significant progress but had to stop for one reason or another. If it's too short, you might annoy players that are looking for something a little more challenging. But overall, I think they succeeded. Doom at the time allowed you to save whenever you wanted to, so you could just respawn at your last checkpoint and yada yada yada. But this was different. You had to be cautious. I was going to list all of the weapons here on my own, but then I stumbled upon this gem. Remember when websites looked like this? Boy oh boy did I make a ton of these types of sites back in the day. I probably made like 10 Diablo related GeoCities websites. So, after finding this and getting pretty damn excited for the visual nostalgia, instead of listing all of the fun Dark Forces weapons, I'll let this website that was made in 1997 be your guide. The modified Briar Blaster Pistol, Stormtrooper Laser Rifle, Thermal Detonator, Imperial Repeater Gun, Jiran Fusion Cutter, IM Mines, Packard Mortar Gun, Stoker Concussion Rifle, and the Assault Cannon. All super fun weapons. All felt pretty unique for a game that was made in 1995. I actually started going down the rabbit hole on this site. It turns out there's a little community of people who are still modding, making levels and sharing content for Dark Forces. It's pretty cool to see people 21 years later that still have a passion for this game despite all of the new bells and whistles that are around today. It shows that this game really did have an impact. If you're interested to see whatever they're doing over there, go to df-21.net. If it weren't for the map that can be popped up, I would still be running around in the game trying to figure out where the hell to go. This is one of the instances where I look back and imagine myself playing this game at the age of 9 and wonder how the hell I found my way around. 9-year-olds nowadays would probably laugh at the simplicity of this game and have no problem navigating their way through the levels. But at the time, 21 years ago, this shit was new. This was new territory. My gaming muscles hadn't yet developed. My digital problem-solving skills hadn't been worked out. But I remember playing through the game. I remember beating it. I don't know how I did it though, looking back. I must have used cheat codes. I had to have used cheat codes. The maps can be quite confusing at times, but that's not really the fault of the level designers. It's kind of a reflection of that technology at the time. A lot of stuff looks the same. One corridor resembles another, and it's often difficult to know where to go. Even after playing through it again this time, I still had trouble. For instance, I completed my mission and I was trying to figure out where to go for the level to end. I ran around for like 15 minutes, frustrated, rolling my eyes, just ready to go get a sandwich because I can't save, you know? Walking over the same bodies, jumping across the same caverns, exploring the same areas I'd explored a dozen times already, but all I had to do was return to the landing area. Oh yeah, duh, there's a lot of that in this game, I just completely forgot. So I ran back to the landing area and my time-wasting extravaganza was over. Was that my fault? Yeah, totally. But I wish there was some type of arrow or something that instructed me to return to the landing area, something like that. Or if I've already completed my mission, why not just have the screen fade to black and take me to my next level? You have to look at this game through time-traveling eyes. The tech was, compared to today's standards, it's quite primitive. A new frontier was being forged. So it's tough for me to complain about this, because it's a reflection of where we were at the time. But man, some of the levels are labyrinths, and even with the map to help guide the way, I had plenty of moments where I was just plain and simply lost. Dark Forces was the first Star Wars first-person shooter. It set trends for the genre. Huge open levels that you could literally get lost in. It set itself apart and gave us one of the most polished and detailed games of its day. People often negatively compare it to Doom. I think looking at that as a negative is pretty goofy. Yeah, of course it's similar. They're both early first-person shooters. Dark Forces came out in 1995. Doom came out in 1993. It's a weird thing to bitch and moan about, especially looking at how easily games can be compared to one another nowadays. Anyway, if you've never played Dark Forces, there's no reason you shouldn't give it a go. It's a fun game, a relic from the past, that still holds water today. Is it frustrating at times? Oh yeah, very frustrating. All games are frustrating at times, but this one sometimes to an extreme. But whether you remember playing it back in the day, or are too young to have played it when it was a bar setter, giving Dark Forces a playthrough will no doubt be an enjoyable time. You can buy Star Wars Dark Forces on Steam or GOG.com for $6. Happy hunting. HelloGreedo, out.